fabulous story. You know, I love great stories about entrepreneurs, small businesses, because if you don't got an interesting story, you can't be on my podcast. So, James Steele has a great story. I'm gonna summarize a little bit, because how in the world does one come from 21 years old to having Steele Agency and be a very big presence in a beautiful small town of Remington?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I think, James, we need to go back just a little bit as to how we met.
Sure. So we were able to meet when I was doing not insurance, but actually some community development work. There's a couple different groups that we work with in and around town. I think it was Heroes Bridge, which raises money for tangible assets and life action moments for disabled or needy vets.
Right.
What we find with Heroes Bridge is often people might need help getting in or out of the shower, but a salty old vet doesn't really ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
So we force that help on them. We find the need, and then we find a solution for them, and we push that in. And so when you and I met, I was actually fundraising for Heroes Bridge. We were bringing a 5K to Remington, and we went through Remington as well as Culpeper to talk with some business owners and see if they would be on board with helping us out on that.
That's right. And funny enough, can I tell you where Heroes Bridge brought us? Heroes Bridge brought us to gardening, and which James Steele is a master gardener.
Yes, ma'am.
And hilarious, which is, so then it started from master gardener to community garden to tower gardens and a lot more.
Sure. So, I mean, when I'm not in the office, I either like to be fishing or gardening. And most of my time here at the office or in town has been focusing on the garden. The Remington Community Garden is just a big focus for me, I guess what I'm saying. And it has been for 5 years. Mm-hmm. What I wanted was an outlet. When I opened up my shop, I wanted something that I didn't have to be in the office all the time.
Right.
I still want to get out. I still want to get my hands dirty. And so it started out as this very selfish endeavor where I got to just sneak away and garden. Just what happens in a small town is people get to know you and people get to be friends with you. Mm-hmm. And so I went from having my own little garden plot to now being the co-director, I think, of the Remington Community Garden. And our newest focus is not just having a food pantry, but actually growing vegetables on deck, on site, and then giving them away. So it's not a community garden just where people can come and grow their own food, right, but we've got an aspect where it's a giveaway situation as well. A lot of the times people want to talk about doing great things or big things for a town, but if you don't hit that hierarchy of needs, if you can't feed the people, you can't go on beyond that. So that was one of those base plate situations where we got to start here so we can grow to more.
I love that, which is feed the people, but also more about also the community. And you and I have had, so we did have a community with my very good friend, Monica. We had a fabulous, stellar plot at the community garden. Not quite to James's standard. I'm just saying we got scolded a couple times because of weeds.
Gardening's hard. You got to keep up with it.
Oh my God, it's so freaking hard. It's so freaking hard. But it was a lot of community. I loved it because of the community part. We got to be out there giving vegetables away. And your wagon night.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about the wagon night, just because.
So this is how the food giveaway started. We used to have something called the Little Free Veggie Wagon, and a couple nights a week we would go through, do our harvest of the community plot. Any of the gardeners that wanted to give something away, we would just fill up the wagon and set it out there. Now we're gaining a little bit more structure. We're got times that it's going to happen. We've got coolers. We've got more of a way to get it into the hands of the people. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I find on the community side is you start to learn not just how to run your business, but you get to learn how to run other things that translate into business. Mm-hmm. One of the problems that our town had, the community had, and what we find on a global level is it's not that there's a scarcity. There's not a food scarcity. There's a problem with getting that food to the people. And so we took a very hands-on approach here in town. Mm-hmm. When we get that food and we market it, it's here. This is how you can get it. There's 4 or 5 different ways. Some people can't come to the garden, so they let me know when I bring it to them. Some people come to the office. But we're talking about large global issues on a very small town scale, because it doesn't matter the larger scale, the trouble's the same. You can have something and no way to get it there. And I think that's the biggest part of the win for the community garden, win for myself, is that supply chain, learning how to correct that supply chain.
I like what you just said, James, which is on a large scale or small scale basis, it's all the same. It's all the same. It's about how do you help your either community, but then on a larger scale, how do you get it to the masses? And, you know, I know yours, your passion, my passion, obviously fresh food, helping the community. But a really big, I think how you and I connected was for various reasons. But the one connection was we are big in our community, and how can we do business in the community and also help ourselves help others?
Sure. So my business plan coming to Remington, I'm a town of 600 people. I'm coming from...
Did you say 6,000?
600. 622
600.
people. I think we had a couple babies. 622 people. And I'm coming from a background with a city population of over 15 million.
Okay.
So I had to find a very quick way to go from a lot of different contacts to a very small scale. And instead of going through and trying to be the town's insurance agent for everybody in town, instead I thought, there's a statewide situation. I can sell in 3 different states. Let's go ahead and focus my business efforts outside of town, but take myself and dedicate it to town, right? If I can grow town to be a better place, a happier place, a better place for my kid, you know, that's a win. I don't need a financial return from town. It's a small town. What the town is needing is more people to financially invest in the town. The rest will come.
Yep.
But if you can build the town that you're in, if you can focus on your own community, not asking them for money, but identifying the needs and bringing it to them, I think that you're a whole lot better for the town. You're a better business owner. You're a better person for town if you create, if you build, you know, and that's been the focus since day one is what can I add? What value can I bring?
Yeah. I love it. So I'm going to do a, sorry for the pun, but you like to be bigger fish in a little pond.
Sure, we're going.
Because you do like to fish.
I do like to fish.
Okay,
I definitely enjoy fishing. Big fish, little pond. What I found was there's a lot of things that I found that I wanted to fix in other locations. But with the bureaucratic, the red tape, the whatever reasons, right? There's some people that don't want to change. What I found in Remington is that we've got enough concerned individuals, enough groups, enough people that care about town, that if you get them in the same room and you create a plan together, we're small enough still that we can actually affect change, that we can come up with an idea and it doesn't just get shelved or quashed or disappeared. We're small enough that we can force some changes in. We can write up the plan. We can take that bigger picture, take that bigger vision and show it to more people that get the ball rolling, right? In a small town, everybody knows each other, which is a great thing on some things. And other times it's difficult. As far as growing town, everybody knowing each other and everybody being on that same page as wanting more from town, it's been helpful.
I love it, James. You know what? I just want to ask you, how would you take what you just learned or what you just kind of talked about? And this might be a good segue because it might be a bigger topic as to what you've learned from talking to a community and drilling it down into actual entrepreneurship and business. So I think when we come back, we're going to hear from James as to what he's learned from working in the community as to how he actually grew his business. So a word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back.
We are JG Design, the proud producers of Entrepreneurs Hangout with Kylie Dahl. We are a company that specializes in video and audio production, that will elevate your business and add value to your brand. Find us at jgdesignonline.com for more information.
Hey everyone, back with James Steele with Steele Agency, talking about how you wrap up with what you're doing in the community and applying it in your business. So James, I just have a question, I've seen you work really hard. Your flip-flops, your gardener, your cigar, you're walking around. I've seen him it's hilarious, but he's ordered these, not ordered, but helped these 12-year-olds, they're out there gardening. And sure. I love it because you're giving them orders. You're telling them what to do.
We're giving direction. Kids want to help. People want to help. What you find, it doesn't matter if it's a 12-year-old kid or an employee. People want direction, right? There's a very limited people that decide I want to go do something on my own. And one of the difficulties that I have is I always have my expectations of people. And one of the failures that I've had is always voicing what my expectation is. So I know what I want from you. You don't know what I want from you.
Okay.
And then I get upset that I didn't get it. And that's been an absolute poison that I think wasn't fixed so much in the office, but it was one of these community developments, one of these groups, whether it was the Remington Community Partnership or the Garden or the Fall Festival or whatever it was. What I found was there's all these helping hands, but not a voice, right? There wasn't somebody directing, guiding. And as I learned to be a little bit more concise and precise about what the plan was, sharing the plan, and then, kind of executing that and telling everybody, this is your role in the bigger picture. The bigger picture looks like this. Your job is A through B. Your job is this. And the community development outreach showed me or gave me an opportunity to do it in a non-boss manner, right? Where instead of coming in as we're in a business and do this, I got to learn it from, let's grow vegetables. Let's turn on a soft approach. Mm-hmm. Let's do a car show. What does it take to have all these different organizations, all these different people, all these different voices and opinions? How do we get the one common goal? How do we flesh out what the common goal is? Yeah. And then get out of each person their particular skill set. The community development piece of town has really changed the way that I approach my business. Now I get to approach everything as this holistic, here's the grand plan. Where do you think you fit in? It used to be me telling you where you fit in, but now it's where do you think? And then just adjusting people's roles. And that's been just an incredible help that I wouldn't have gotten without volunteering.
I think that is a really organic approach to perhaps leadership. So, sorry, but organic, get it? Organic vegetables. That was pretty funny. Okay, I'm just saying. But you know what, James? You and I are similar in the sense of how sometimes we might have a grandioso plan, how you think your business needs to be run. But then you bring on various different people and just talking about the garden or the car show, and then that person that could do this, but now you've got to break it down in a different manner. I think leadership is exceptionally important, and how you learned that just talking about leadership. Would you say that could you be a good business person in a community without having that community experience?
Sure. I think for me personally, no. I think there's a lot of people that have found a way or has focused on business or took night classes or whatever it is that they did to learn it. Whether that was they got shipped out and learned it, whether they learned the School of Hard Knocks. For me, they've just been such a married pair, the community development and the business for so many years now that I couldn't do one without the other. Definitely each of them rely on each other every day. Yes, ma'am.
I love it. Kind of like pairing tomatoes and basil.
Exactly.
Which you grow both.
Yes, ma'am.
I know. I love it. I learned a lot from James with the community garden. But I want to talk just a little bit about so in your aspirations as a younger self of James, 21, whatever it be. Like, and we don't need to like, okay, say for example, you're growing up or you're college or whatever it might be. But like where you started at 21 going forward.
What made me an insurance agent?
Yeah, how did you think about that?
So I didn't mean to become an insurance agent. Nobody grows up thinking like, man, that's the job for me. Okay, most of us don't know the job exists until we've got like 6 months under our belt as insurance agents. Okay. We didn't even know. Like it's a complete accident. What I do find and what I think entrepreneurs, business owners, and insurance agents often find is when you take your resume and you roll it up, you become whatever it is that you're supposed to be. So if you've got a background in management, leadership, and asset protection, insurance agent just makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
For me at 21, it wasn't on purpose. I became an insurance agent through a lot of open doors, right? It was just very quickly that I found I could just do it better, right? I found an office that was an incredible place to learn. I got this springboard. I got this education from somebody that I really appreciate.
Okay.
But the way that he ran his office was not in a manner that I want to run my business.
Okay.
It taught me a lot of what I don't want to do. It taught me how to get big dollars, big money. It taught me, the financial aggression. It taught me how to be a shark. Fine. But I learned as well that it isn't how I want to treat my people.
So it also taught you what you did not
what you didn't want, which is equally as important. So taking what I learned there and then becoming my own independent broker, learning for myself for a few years, I just made a lot of mistakes, I guess, is how I got here real fast. I made a lot of mistakes really, really early on.
Okay.
And then as I'm in the mistakes, I found the importance of finding people more intelligent than me, people that have had that experience, reading the book, whatever. Find someone, instead of James making the same mistake that everybody else has made, find a way to learn from it before you make the mistake, right? And I think that early in my career, I flipped that switch where instead of stumbling over myself, I wanted to get out of my own way. And so I started the researching, I started the studying, I started talking to people that understood processes and systems, and I started implementing those in my own day-to-day before it was my own business. And what I found is that when I did it correctly, the business grew and I grew.
Okay.
After I learned how to do it correctly, the replication came into play. That's where I got my own team for the first time, right? I got to start hiring under myself and show them this is what I've done, this is what it takes to be successful, and then creating that roadmap. The quicker you do it, the quicker you replicate, the quicker you write out your process, the quicker you can become bigger. Just because I knew what I wanted early, I knew what the cost was going to be, and I started saving early. I started planning for this well before I was emotionally ready, before I was physically ready, before I had the work experience underneath me. I knew that it was coming. So I just started putting the building blocks into play. I started building myself up so that when the opportunity presented itself, I was ready. And then 5 years ago, an opportunity came for me to open my own shop here in Remington, and it's been gravy since then.
That's awesome. So you found an office. Within a garden spot.
It's got a garden. It's Remington. Somebody sold it to me. They said Remington Steele. Like, it's an easy sell.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me. It was just everything that I wanted. I wanted to be a small town agent. I came from a place of boiler room type of organization, right? It was not what I wanted. I want to be a small town agent. I want to be that guy in the commercials. If there's a problem, I want to be there for you. And coming to a smaller location, it allowed me to slow down just a little bit and start putting my time, monies, and efforts into things that were important to me. Instead of the 175 phone calls, it was less phone calls, but more meaningful touches. And I got to shift my perspective from moneymaker to create this entity. And that's all that we focus on now, is creating it better every day.
I like it. When we come back, we're going to listen to James's story a little bit more on mentorship, because I think starting from an early age and going to where he's at now, I think it could interest so a lot of it listeners as to, hey, how can I also aspire to do that, James? So stay tuned. We're going to be back after a word from our sponsors. Welcome back. So I want to talk a little bit about how in the world a 21-year-old comes from being that 21, of course, to now Steele Agency. I think it's important, James. I don't know that every 21-year-old male, female, like, how do you become that going from here to there? How do you aspire? Who mentored you? Just give us a little bit of behind the scenes.
Not to be bold, but I think a lot of people are already that person, right? At 21, I feel like I was already who I am today. I just didn't know it yet. I didn't have the opportunity to uncover it, to find those pieces of me yet, right? It was all there. I just never got the opportunity to show it and become it.
Good point.
So I think a lot of it was the opportunities. And opportunity doesn't always feel good. Opportunity isn't always an exciting thing. Opportunity is often an adversary. It's often something that you have to conquer. It's something that kicks your butt a little bit and you have to grow from.
Stretches you a little bit.
It's got to work you. You know, your muscles get stronger by stretching them, by breaking them. So same deal. I think in order to become, who I am now, you had to go through a couple different phases. You have to get refined. You had to get polished a little bit, right? You take that rough stone and you wear it a little bit until you're able to shine. And definitely in the course of these last 10 or 12 years, a lot of opportunity has been presented to me to make myself a better person, business owner, whatever else. Some of that has been from outside mentors that help and guide, and some of that's just been finding some situations that you've got to work yourself out of.
I think you're right, because what happens is, as a business owner and as how you step into your role, right? You say, okay, I know I really like what I do. I don't know everything, but I've got to push myself. And some of that is being uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable. So, this, I don't know what you said, I don't know everything, but
yeah.
What you don't want to do, I think, is find yourself not knowing anything and nobody to ask. A lot of my office success the majority of my office success comes from the fact that I've got a staff of people that are more educated, more well-rounded, more experienced, older than me, licensed longer than me. I don't have a whole bunch of staff that don't know anything. What I have is I've got 8 people that know exactly what they want, how to do it, and they've got the experience to achieve it. So if you're finding yourself, how do I get to the next step? It's not that you have to know it. Find someone that knows more than you. Get them on your team. Get those people, going back to that community development. Find somebody with a skill set that you don't have. Find where your hole is, hire into it, right? And then whatever your issue is, it's not your issue anymore, right? It's an office issue that got resolved by a skill set that you brought in. And it's just a different way to view it. What do I have to fix? No, what does the office have to rectify?
Yeah. James, I love that part about what you just said, which is, you've got to go find somebody that's smarter or bigger or better, or that has better answers than you do. Because every solution, I think, out there is about, where do you find your mentors to go out there? I love, hey, listen, I don't want to be the smartest tool in the shed. I want to have everybody around me to go. Sure. I want to know, hey, James, what do I need to know? And I want to go find that.
Sure. I'm not scared at all to ask anybody anything. If I come across somebody that's good at anything at all, I want to be a better bass fisherman. I just went and found someone that was really good at bass fishing. Okay. And I followed him. I asked questions. I hung around. When he wanted to go fishing, I snuck up on him, right? I would just watch him. Whatever it is that you want to do, find someone that's already doing it. Find someone that's already understanding it. Somebody that's already figured out that key, and just steal it from them. Or ask them for advice, whatever you want to do. But there's already an answer out there. If you know the root cause, and you've got a problem that you know what the problem is, find someone that's already found a solution and use their corrective action.
I think that's really smart advice. When one of my first commission-only jobs, which was back in gazillion years ago in the diet business, and I loved what I did. I really, really did. It was actually helping people become healthier. But one of the area directors, awesome, her name was Debbie, and I'm like, okay, wait a second, how do I aspire to be more like Debbie, right? And that's how you achieve bigger things, and that's how you okay, I'm not saying I need to walk and eat and look like Debbie. No. But how do I look at her and say, okay, wait a second. How do I pick up on those things that she's doing well?
How are you doing it well? How do I do that?
Yep.
Exactly. For me, one of the things that was a turning point for me was one of the things that my mentors did really well was they mentored me. And when you learn something, the best way to learn it, to really know it, is to teach somebody else.
Yes.
And over the last couple of years, what I found is my role has been changing from, hey, I need help, how do I do this? To instead, I'm becoming this person to come to, right? People are coming and asking me like I know something, like I'm not still figuring it out. But it's that uncomfortableness again, right? These people are coming to me, they saw something. I did something correctly. There was a piece of my business that they saw, and they said, that guy's got it. How do I know more? And this was something very difficult for me right off the bat because I didn't know everything, and I didn't want to tell people like I've got the answers because I didn't. Yeah. But often what I found is those same mentors that helped me is what I'm finding now is I didn't have all the answers. What I did have is just tell them, guide them.
Right.
They don't want an answer. They don't want to have the magic recipe. They just want to know that it's possible. They want that encouragement that you can figure it out, right? Your magic recipe is going to be different than mine. You're not asking for how to do it. You're asking for the tools, right? So you go from the mentee to the mentor. And that's been a really exciting role for me over these last little bit. And it's made me solidify what I believe in, what I've been coaching or what I've been coached on. Now I'm coaching the same way. And my office, I feel they're seeing that I'm doubling down on it. Like I'm not just talking about it, but we're being about this. We've got somebody else that wants to grow and do something bigger. Let's give them the resources. Let's give them the knowledge. And you do it for one person, and all of a sudden there's a line out your door saying, you helped my buddy. Can you do the same for me? And that's been one of the biggest rewards for me.
I like it. So now you guys, I know that you're stretching into the Richmond area.
Yes, ma'am.
And oh my gosh, this is exciting because not only are you're looking for new talent. And James, the thing of it is you guys can stretch and you guys can be really a part of the community and show people okay, we are an agency that's part of the community. And I love that part about you guys. The stretching, the growing, the mentorship, which only shows how you really want to present yourself inside the community because you are an agency that lives and works in the community.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So moving to Richmond, growing that way, we're definitely excited. Over the last 5 years, we have doubled our business or better every year for the last 5 years. With the new acquisition moving into the Richmond market, we get to experience a new opportunity now where we're going from a very small 600-person town and all the things that we learned on how to take care of a town, and we get to apply it to a much larger scale. So I'm curious. I'm excited to see how those lessons relate, how they change, and then what's going to be morphed or the evolution of this to work this on a larger scale. It's exciting.
You know what, though? The only way to scale is to be a little uncomfortable in your skin. But I think that you just hit it right, which was you've learned the things prior to, and now you can take those things coming from 600 community environment or 600 community town and roll them into, Richmond.
People are the same. Treat people with love and respect. Build it, grow it, the way you'd want to be grown. And I'm hoping that we get the reception that we're hoping for.
Oh, you're going to get it. I want to wrap this up with saying, you know what? Our business community really needs to be thinking about the impact that we offer, that we deliver, and what we stand for. Yes, whether you're a small community or a large community, you've got an envelope. And so really honestly, be impactful to that envelope is so smart.
Thank you so much.
You got it. I love this man. We're going to have more on him. I do know that. And so thank you so much for joining us to the Entrepreneurs Hangout with Steele Agency. Thanks. Bye for now. Hey, everyone. Remember, we cannot be successful without your help. So give us likes, loves, and shares, and support us. Thanks so much. See you next time.